I think it's not just one thing but there are many things involved. And Finland, of course, is a fairly large country with some 187,888 lakes. And also we have more forest than is the whole land area of Italy, for example. So I would say that Finns are still very close to the nature. But also important are things like a high sense of personal autonomy and freedom, as well as equality and social trust and good governance. And of course, a high level of education for the whole population also makes it possible to have an exchange of opinions on an equal footing, so that, let's say, independent of one's profession or social or economic background. Well, I think there are also some myths here which are not true. For example, weather is something that actually does not really affect people's happiness. It's something people get used to. So on the other hand, we have actually 4 very different seasons to explore and enjoy. But here we also come to what is actually measured. If we look at data for positive emotions in various countries, then we see that several Latin American countries, for example, as well as some countries in Southeast Asia, occupy the top positions. But on the other hand, World Happiness Report and most other international comparisons actually use general life evaluation as the measure of citizens' happiness. And there some of the key issues are quality of institutions, reliable and extensive welfare benefits, low corruption, income equality, as well as functioning democracy. So all these factors create the base for a long-term sense of security and free thinking. But on the other hand, still, I guess if you ask regular people on the street in Finland what makes them happy, as these above-mentioned things are in order, I think they might answer that walking or skiing in the forest, or picking berries and mushrooms, or spending time at a cottage with a sauna at the lakeside are things that make them happy. Well, of course, these institutional things I mentioned are very important, but perhaps also future-oriented thinking is something. What kind of country and society and environment we want to leave to our children. But also on a more personal level, I would say that Serbs are not that different from Finns. I think it seems to me that we both enjoy, for example, spending time at the cottage, although here the cottages are either at a riverside or in the mountains. Nordic countries have invested heavily in universal and free mass education, and where one of the key goals was to build a strong sense of national identity and social cohesion, which contributes then to better social and institutional trust. I think so important really here is that nobody is left behind. And regarding history, so-called ambulatory schools for both boys and girls, operating either in guest houses or in vicars, were established already during the 17th century. And during the 19th century, these schools covered the majority of the populations already. And it has also been shown that the number of years in schooling in a country in 1870s is strongly correlated with low corruption level in the same country in 2010. So many important things here. Certainly, as Finns here, living here in Serbia can testify, and I'm sure that Serbs living in Finland can do the same. But really, I think both Serbia and Finland are not perhaps that well known to outsiders, but really when you get to know both countries and people in them, you find that there are plenty of nice things to discover. And also I think that in smaller countries it's often easier to realize your dreams than in bigger countries perhaps. As we only have this one globe, I think moderateness and fairness are good guiding principles. So with those as starting point, I think it's easier to accept also yourself and others, as well as adapt to a quickly changing world around you. So in a way, I would say that life is more important than yourself.